Hey there, roomies. The second video in our series on spies and detectives for our Classroom Intelligence Agency workshop is all about secret codes. We're going to discuss why someone would use a secret code, including some of the history of codes throughout the ages, and then talk about how you can create your own secret code. So, first up, what is a secret code, and why would you want to use one when it's so much easier to just tell someone what you want them to know? A secret code is a way of changing a message so that the original message is hidden. In order to do this, you use what's called a cipher. A cipher is a process that can be applied to your message to hide your very important information. I'll give you some examples later on, but why would you want to go to all that trouble in the first place? Well, imagine, if you will, that you and your brother or sister are trying to talk about what you want to get your parent for their birthday. But they're in the room, and you don't want to spoil the surprise. If you had a secret code, you could pass notes between each other and be able to decide if a new floor mop or a pet monkey would be the better present, and your nosy parent would be none the wiser. Throughout history, codes have been used to send important messages and have been around for centuries. One of the first known cases of code use was by the Roman leader Julius Caesar. The code he used was pretty simple. He just replaced one letter with another letter after making sure the people receiving his message had a cipher to unscramble the messages. As time went on, ciphers became more complicated. An Italian named Leon Battista Alberti created a cipher wheel, which had two circles, both engraved with alphabet letters. When you turned the wheels a certain way, you could both create and solve secret messages. The better folks got at making codes, though, the better their enemies got at cracking them, or figuring out what the messages were. So, more and more complicated ciphers were needed. One of the most famous uses of secret codes was during World War II, when the United States used Native American Navajo people who spoke both English and the Navajo language called Diné, which was a mostly spoken language that very few people spoke. The Navajo code talkers, as they were called, would translate messages into Diné and send them to another code talker that was stationed with the troops or out on the battlefield. This is one of the few codes in history that was never cracked when it was in use and was very important for the U.S. forces. Well, after all that talk about codes, how would you like to make your own? Here are a few simple ways you can make your own ciphers and start sending secret messages about mops and monkeys. All you need is a pencil and a piece of paper. Be ready to pause the video if you need more time and want to follow along. Number 1. The reverse method. This is the simplest way to write a code. You simply take the message and write it backwards. That way, your message of "Mommy could use a monkey" becomes "Imam druak ezu e yeknom." This is a pretty easy code for a spy or nosy parent to solve, but is very good at hiding messages which might only be glanced at. Number 2. The reflect method. You start by writing out the letters A through M in a single line on a piece of paper. Then, directly beneath this line, write out the letters N through Z. You then change each letter of the message to the opposite letter of the two lines you wrote out. This way, your message of "a mop would be better" becomes N zbk jilg or gr. Number 3. The pigpen cipher. This one starts with drawing a tic-tac-toe grid on a piece of paper. Write out the letters A through I in the grid, left to right, top to bottom, like this. Now, draw a second grid and do the same with J through R, but this time you mark dots in each space, as shown here. Next, draw two big X's. In one, write STUV. In the other, write WXYZ and put a dot in the crook of each angle. Now, use a symbol based on the grid shapes, including the dots. And your message of "monkeys are messy" would look like this. The fourth and final example is a language like Pig Latin. In Pig Latin, words that start with a consonant sound switch that sound to the end of the word and add a. This is also true for cluster sounds like st and th. For example, pig becomes igpe, Latin becomes atenle, code becomes odke. So try and figure out the final message. Iwe, udshe, etge, erhe, othbe, enthe. Any of these examples can be switched around in all sorts of different orders, so try out your own. If you need help, be sure to ask a parent. Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick video about codes and ciphers. All the sources I used are in the description. If you liked the video, check back for more soon. Until then, don't forget to learn something.